Hey guys, it's Burt from Soft Tubes and I'm here with another trailer reaction, and it's another catch-uppy one. There are going to be a few of these today, but this is the second one today, so that's kind of cool. This trailer reaction is for Annabelle Comes Home, the second official trailer. I did react to the first one. You know, they had things, so we're going to try and react to this one, see what it's like. Alright, I've heard some good things from people who like this series, so we'll see how I feel about it. But anyway, let's jump into this.
What's this?
Cops. Appears to be cops.
You folks need to turn around. Pretty bad
Okay.
accident up ahead.
Anything we can do?
You a doctor or something?
Or something.
Ha 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 ha. Hey, look, it's on the sea.
Nice doll.
That's what you think.
Okay.
Did it work?
The evil is contained.
But it was just sitting in the backseat of the car. Why doesn't it contain that?
Babysitting for the Warrens tonight.
And we'll be back early tomorrow morning.
Have fun. Don't your parents keep any creepy stuff around?
We keep it all locked away in a room. It's not good for anyone to go in there.
A few locks and things.
My dad says that everything in there is either haunted, cursed, or used in some ritualistic practice.
What's that?
The ferryman. They put coins over the eyes of the dead
Oh.
so you could take their souls.
I mean, that's an old
What
tradition.
about the doll that's in there? Annabelle. She's in a case for a reason.
Doll fell over, you gotta go fix that up. It's a big problem. Oh, this has been another creek. Sure. Hey, look, coin.
No.
Why did you pick up the coin? Hey, buddy.
Annabelle is the beacon for other spirits.
Okay. Ah, I didn't turn my phone off.
Mrs. Warren? Mom? Is everything okay? Something is happening inside your house and we're not really sure what to do.
Can I speak to Annabelle?
Oh, well, screw
I
that.
need to give her a soul, dear. She wants us.
I mean, yeah, sure, why not? So, yeah, these are not my kind of film. They're very jump scare focused, which I'm not. Okay, jump scares typically get me, but it's not even that is part of the reason I'm not a big fan of jump scares, because my problem with jump scares is they're cheap. I've talked about this before. I probably talked about this in the last video. I find jump scares a little bit too cheap. They get a scare, but it's not very long lasting and there's not a lot of thought put into it. And I found it seems to be a problem now. I don't know if it's just my mind sort of changed on them, or it's a problem with modern day films in relation to jump scares. But they advertise them too much. So when a jump scare is coming, they spend a lot of time building up that tension to try and make it stronger. But the problem is what it ends up doing is telling you that it's about to occur. And even the fake out ones kind of get ruined by that, because there's a bit of a fake out, then there's the real one. But that's become a cliche to the point that you kind of expect it, or at least for me, it's kind of like, okay, well, there was a fake one. There'll probably be a real one, they may not, but there's a good chance there'll be a real one. So they don't really work as well as they used to. Because I think because it is just such a cheap tactic to use when making a scary film, to use a jump scare, because it's very simple to do and get a reaction. You don't have to try and like work out, because part of the problem when you do a well done scare, you don't know how most of the audience is actually going to react to it. You can hope, but you can never truly know the reaction. Jump scares, you've got a pretty good idea of gauging a reaction before it happens. So especially when selling a movie to executives, you can go, look, this will get a reaction out of audiences. So I totally get them, but the problem is because they happen so often, our brains sort of get attuned to them, and they don't become as effective. I still have issues in relation to this being the home of the Conjuring universe. The fact that they're building a Conjuring universe. With IPs that go towards building universes, cinematic universes, Conjuring's a very odd choice for me. I've always felt it's a very, very odd choice. I can understand it a bit, but I'm not sure what it benefits from being a cinematic universe and not just a series of films. Because those are two very different things. They could just keep doing Conjuring films with maybe a spin-off, and it would essentially just be a franchise. And it would work quite well. It's a horror film. A lot of horror films sort of do that. I mean, look at Halloween and things like that. And, yeah, Friday the 13th and stuff. So there is tradition there for that. But the problem becomes, when you try to do a universe, it needs a reason to exist. And it needs a point to balance on. And that point so far is the Warrens. They're still pretty involved, even if they aren't involved in every film. And Annabelle's kind of at the center, which is why I believe to me it makes sense that they're choosing Annabelle to be the film that they're like, alright, we've done 2 films. Our 3rd film is one we exploded outwards. And I have a couple of theories about how they're going to do this. It's either going to be all these things get released and they're threats down the line, or all these threats get released so we get introduced to them, then we see the origin of each of the items in that room, and that's going to be their focal point. That room is going to be the universe, and then we're going to see where each of those objects came from. But that's the problem with that, is that's not a universe. That's a room. Sure, those things came from other places, but they don't make a universe as such, especially since the Warrens collected them or whatever. So there's still this way too tight connected. The problem I've been having with the MCU for a little bit is everything feels very small. They really need to expand outwards now. Like, they've done their big saga, they need to start really expanding outwards. Otherwise, it as a universe is useless. But the problem is here, I don't know how they can truly do that. Because what benefit is there to it being a universe? I don't see what it could possibly be. There's mild universes in basically keeping people going like, oh, it's a Conjuring universe film, I'll go see it. But you get that with a franchise? You don't need a cinematic universe to do that. It just... there's no real benefit here to doing it. It doesn't increase their storytelling options. It doesn't allow them to do like part of the reason the MCU works is that excitement of like, oh, I watched Thor and his films, even if they weren't great, but whatever, and Captain America and his films, and I'm in his films, and then they all come together, and there's like little bits along the way where they interact. How are we gonna, like, that doesn't really work as well in a horror thing, like, oh, we're gonna be so excited to see Annabelle and the Nun team up. Like, what is the benefit of it? I just don't get it. And that's not to say it won't work. Given how successful this franchise has been as a horror franchise, I actually do expect most of these films to do pretty decent. I do, in the back of my head, I have a feeling that we're going to see a decline in returns for these films. I don't think they'll die necessarily, but I think there will be a decline when people sort of get over it. And part of the issue becomes the kind of horror this is. Like, I'm a big fan of the It Chapter 1, the newest iteration for Chapter 2 is coming out this year, because of the way it does things, the dark fairy tale aspects. There's a lot of really interesting, like, world stuff that's still kept mostly mystery. And Pennywise doesn't just kill people because he's a creature of fear. Like, he's basically a Lovecraftian monster built around fear. So, making people scared makes him stronger, so he wants to make them scared first. Why do these ghosts in the Conjuring films keep scaring people? There's no logic there. And you can do illogical, well, not illogical, but lacking incomprehensible logic. Except when you keep on piling logic onto them, because that's the problem with these films, is to make them work as ghost films, to give them a pretty solid plot narrative structure. They have to keep piling on a logic. There's a girl that wants Annabelle, and that's connected to how Annabelle's working. The ferryman has coins for his eyes and has something to do with coins. Like, there is logic they build, but then they don't create any logic for why they don't just kill people and why they keep scaring them first. Or even why ghosts want to kill people. Like, there's no real reason for that. There's a little bit of demons in there, but even that doesn't explain everything. Like, you can't just say demons and be like, yeah, that answers all the questions. Like, if you're gonna use demons, give a reason why. There might be mild reasons, but like, you've really got to sort of build on that. And I feel like, yeah, it's just come to a point where the films are just relying on things we just accept as truth. We just accept demons are evil, so therefore they do evil things. And the scares are to be expected in a horror movie, so that's why they just don't kill them. Like, there's no actual logical thread tying all that together, but we just sort of accept it because that's just how it's been. Whereas they could actually try to be really clever with it and come up with very logical reasons for the ghost to do every single action they do. But that would require more time in both development and also screen time in order to do that, and I just don't think they have that in them. But anyway, guys, I went off on a bit of a tangent there. But if you, let me know what you think of the trailer, if you are keen for this film, if you're keen for the cinematic universe of The Conjuring, let me know in the comments below. There's a like and a dislike button for the people who like to hit those things. And if you're new to the channel and you like like trailer reactions and film reviews and gameplays and stuff, make sure you hit the subscribe button. There is gameplays on the way. Still working out some details and things like that, but there is stuff on the way. We're going to, like, it's been a bit like, used to do a lot of different stuff. We've narrowed for a while, and now we're sort of building out a little bit again, building a very solid base, essentially, on the channel. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
There's this poison coming off the swamp.
You should be dead!
Whoa, Jesus.
There's been a shift in the balance of the light and the dark. Something's out there.
He's all swampy too. Oh.